Thank you very much, guys, for having me. It's an honor to be here. I know I'm familiar with a lot of the faces in the crowd, and so I'm really honored to be here. I wanted to thank Sam and Don for having me. And I said, why me? Why me? And first of all, I come cheap. I know that they had food here, so that's another thing that got me here. But it was a great exercise. I had to really think about it. I got a tremendous scholarship for my leadership capabilities, but I never really thought what a great leader was. What makes a great leader? And I think a lot of you guys have unique qualities of charisma, charm, energy, enthusiasm. And but what else goes into that? What else goes into that? So I thought about it and I said, what were the great leaders that I had growing up? And so I thought about it, and the first great leader I had was in middle school. I was in 7th grade. A kid named Chucky. Chucky was the coolest kid in our school. He was the kid with the new sneakers. He had the best gear. He was also bigger and stronger than all of us because he got left back in like 3rd grade or something like that. So he was older than all of us. But Chucky wasn't a good kid. Chucky led us down the wrong way. Now, Chucky had all of us. We would run through walls for this kid. This kid had us doing everything. But what he also had us doing was cutting class, after school, raiding fruit stands and stuff like that, and just not great stuff, not great stuff. He was a great leader because he was so charismatic. He was compelling. He had energy. We're like, I love to hang out with Chucky. But looking back at it, he didn't lead us for good. He didn't lead us in the path of good. And so I think we all have some Chuckies in our life, but I started to realize that once I started playing basketball, I go home to my mother, and I said there's more. It's more about finding about what I'm passionate about. And so the next great leader I had in my life was when I got to college. A kid by the name of David Karate. He was the senior captain on my basketball team, and he was passionate. He was passionate about Middlebury basketball. You would think about when he first came in as a freshman, we knew each other. We were a five-team freshman, and great friends. Kicked it off real quick. First week we go down, we start playing basketball. He was the worst kid out there. He was a bad player. I was like, Coach, how can Coach recruit this kid? This kid's not even good. Flash forward 3 years, junior year, we start getting regular minutes. And he's only averaging about 4 points, 4 rebounds. But the senior year voted unanimous captain because he was passionate. He was passionate in the huddle. He'd be like, who's going to get the big stop for us? Who's going to do this? Who can make a big shot? And he would I'm getting chills right now just thinking about his speeches because he was so motivating. He was passionate. You knew that you would love to go to war with this kid. And that's what I think Chucky didn't have. Chucky wasn't passionate about anything. He definitely wasn't passionate about school. He wasn't passionate about basketball. And so when I look at you guys, I say, what are you passionate about? I know you're passionate about Project Coach, which is awesome. And so use that passion. Don't be scared of it. Embrace it. Be passionate about something. Because he didn't have that. You always have the charisma, the charm, the energy. You have that. But be passionate about it. Embrace it. The next great leader I had is when I graduated college, and Sam hooked me up with a great job in real estate, a man by the name of Joel Radman. And now Joel is a completely different sort of leader. Joel, I sat down at his desk and interviewed with him, and the first thing he says is, because he sees my resume, which is like summer camps, basketball camps, community stuff, he goes, we're not saving the planet here. We're about making money. We're not saving the manatees. This is not about making the earth greener. You gotta get on the phone. You're gonna make money, okay? And so for him, the major quality that I got out of him was just the undying commitment to his profession and to his job. He's a guy that started out with nothing. He started out in the real estate industry, a small company, and they gave him a phone book and they gave him a phone. They said, make phone calls. And so he said something to us. They said, I'm going to control the things I can control. I am going to make the most phone calls. I'm going to get to work before everybody. I'm going to get to work at 7 o'clock, make more phone calls than everybody. I'm going to find more properties for sale than anybody. I'm going to make more sales than anybody. And it's a commitment that he made to that industry. And that now I still talk to him. I'm still great friends with him. And he says, you know, I'm like, Joel, I'm shaking in my boots. This economy's crazy. What are you doing? You know? Now he owns 40 buildings in Manhattan, by the way. We started with nothing. He owns 40 buildings in Manhattan now. I'm like, what are you doing? I don't own any real estate. He owns 40 buildings, and I'm scared. He's like, I'm not scared. I'm excited. He says, I'm going to lead my company through this bad time. And if I lead my company through this bad time, we're going to be 10 times better off for it. And so that's the kind of leader that you embrace. Somebody that's committed to leading this company out of this recession. And so when I look at you guys again, I bring it back to, what are you committed to? You know, you're passionate about, obviously, Project Coach, helping kids. Are you committed to school? Are you going to be that kid that works harder than everybody else to say, you know what, I'm going to get to college? You got to be committed. You got to have that commitment, okay? And so you go back to Chucky. What was Chucky committed at? He was committed to messing around after school. You know, not much. Not much. He didn't have that commitment. I was lucky. I had basketball. I was committed to basketball. I was passionate about basketball. And so that helped me in my path to college and then after college. And then the last thing I'll say in terms of leadership, I think loyalty is a great characteristic to have. To be loyal to your friends, to your family, to your coaches. Sam Trader, who's been a great leader, role model, mentor for me for my entire life, portrays this characteristic the best. Met him when I was 5 years old. He was 23 years old and started working at a public school, high school with my mom. My mom is a single parent mother from Brooklyn, and her biggest goal was to surround me with people or get me mentors, male mentors that I didn't have, because I didn't have a father figure in the house. And so immediately hit it off with Sam, and Sam was destined to do great things. So after working 3 years at a public school in Brooklyn, he went up to Vermont and won thousands of awards, including a Teacher of the Year, which is a really prestigious award. But he stayed in touch with me. He stayed in touch with me the whole way. I used to go up to Vermont in the summers, hang out with his family, and then he goes off to Stanford to get his PhD, which is 3,000 miles away. But he still stays in touch with me. What's going on? What are you looking at? You're doing well in school. And then he comes back. Smith made a great land. They get Sam Trader, and so he's closer. But it's the tremendous loyalty that Sam had for me, for everyone around him, for everybody in his program. And so I try to portray that now for the people that are important to me, being loyal to them, being loyal to my teammates, being loyal to the people that helped me along the way. I think it's very important to be loyal. And so I think that's a great characteristic to have. And then so I bring it all back. I say you guys have some tremendous tools. You're already unique. You guys have great charisma. You have energy, enthusiastic. You have all these great leadership qualities. What else can you have? Passionate. Be passionate about what you're doing. I spoke to Arbelio before we started, and he seems to be really passionate about law. I said, that's great, man. What's the plan? And so he already has it sort of mapped out about what he's going to try to do to get to that goal. And he's passionate about it. I can't tell him anything. He's passionate. That's great. That's what you need. And then what you need is to be committed to your work. You got to be like Joel Rabin and say, I'm going to control the things I can control. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to be up at 7 o'clock in the morning, finish that homework before I get to school. I got to be committed to that to get to that goal, right? And so that's the things I'm looking at. And so we all might have a Chucky in our lives. Some of you might have some Chucky in you. But that's okay. That's okay, because you can make that chance to say, I'm going to lead for good. You know what I mean? I'm going to lead for change. I'm going to lead to help my community. I'm going to use all the characteristics I know that I have and lead for change. And so I think you all guys are wonderful, and I look forward to tracking all of your careers. Thank you very much. Did you get that one?